See, being an actor isn't always easy. You've got to be prepared for anything.
Have you ever wondered why Marty McFly's dream truck was actually a one-year-only configuration that Toyota accidentally made into a collector's item? What if I told you the lifted truck wasn't actually lifted at all, and the secrets behind those multiple license plates involve more movie magic than time travel itself? Today we're counting down 20 hidden secrets about Marty's 1985 Toyota SR5 that will completely change how you see this iconic pickup. Number 20. The one-year wonder configuration. Here's something that drives Toyota collectors absolutely crazy even today. The 1985 SR5 four-wheel drive was the only year you could get both electronic fuel injection and a solid front axle together in one truck. In 1984, these trucks still had carburetors feeding their engines. By 1986, Toyota had switched to independent front suspension. The film's prop department lucked into choosing the exact model year that would become the holy grail configuration for off-road enthusiasts decades later. They had absolutely no idea they were showcasing what would become the most desirable Toyota pickup ever produced. Dealers today charge serious premium prices for this specific one-year combination. One properly restored 1985 example recently sold for $47,000, which is actually more than a brand new Tacoma costs. The timing was pure accident and good fortune. The prop master simply needed a black Toyota truck that looked appropriately cool for a teenager's dream vehicle. Instead, they accidentally picked the one model year that Toyota fans would obsess over for the next 4 decades. The factory combination of fuel injection for reliability and a solid axle for durability created the perfect platform. Off-road builders prize these trucks because they're the last year before Toyota went to independent front suspension. That solid axle can handle serious abuse that independent setups simply cannot. The Back to the Future trilogy immortalized this pickup, but hardly anyone realizes the truck itself was already special before it ever appeared on screen. Number 19. The fake lift. Kit illusion. Everyone assumes Marty's truck sits high on an expensive lift kit with modified suspension. Completely wrong. The truck rolled at absolutely stock height, with completely standard factory suspension components. The lifted illusion came entirely from oversized 31-inch tires mounted on stock 15-inch wheels. Normal SR5s came from the factory with 28-inch tires. Those extra 3 inches of tire diameter created the lifted appearance without any actual suspension modifications whatsoever. The film crew specifically avoided lifting the truck because it would make getting in and out significantly harder for actors. Michael J. Fox stands only 5 feet 4 inches tall. A genuinely lifted truck would have required a sidestep or running, boards that would look awkward and compromise the clean lines on camera. The oversized tires provided the aggressive stance they wanted, while keeping the cab floor height completely manageable for the actors. Off-road shops still get customers regularly asking specifically for the Back to the Future lift kit. They have to patiently explain there never was one, that the look came purely from larger tires. Some customers refuse to believe this, insisting they want whatever suspension lift the movie truck had. The misconception has persisted for 40 years, despite the truth being relatively obvious when you examine the truck carefully. The wheel wells show stock clearance. The suspension components are completely factory, only the tires are different. This simple trick saved the production thousands of dollars while creating exactly the appearance they needed. Sometimes the best solutions are the simplest ones that don't actually involve expensive modifications at all. Number 18. The vanishing and changing license plates. Sharp-eyed fans have documented something strange about the truck's license plates throughout the trilogy. The plate changes between films for reasons never officially explained by anyone involved in production. In Part 1, the rear plate clearly reads 2 EP9116. By Part 2, it had mysteriously switched to 2 Bulk 86U, a completely different number. Nobody from production has ever provided a satisfactory explanation for why the change wasn't simply a continuity error. They deliberately changed plates between films for unknown reasons. Some fan theorists suggest it relates to alternate timeline changes, but that explanation doesn't match the film's internal logic at all. Others think the original plate got stolen by fans during filming or promotional appearances. The real reason might be much simpler and more mundane. California requires annual registration renewal on all vehicles. The films shot across multiple years with significant gaps between productions. Rather than properly renewing fake registration on a prop plate, they might have simply made completely new plates for the sequel. But here's the genuinely weird part that nobody can explain. Promotional photographs from the era show a third plate number that never appears in any film. Universal's production archives contain no documentation whatsoever explaining the changes or the mysterious third plate. The license plate mystery has spawned entire forum threads where fans analyze every frame, documenting which plate appears when. The inconsistency bothers continuity-obsessed viewers, but went completely unnoticed by general audiences. Most people never paid attention to the specific plate numbers. They just registered Toyota truck without scrutinizing details that would later become internet investigation fodder. Number 17. The front license plate. Mystery California law explicitly requires both front and rear license plates on all registered vehicles. Marty's truck mysteriously gains and loses its front plate throughout the trilogy with no consistency. In certain shots, you can clearly see a front plate properly mounted on the bumper. Other scenes show a completely bare front bumper with no plate whatsoever. This wasn't poor continuity supervision or accidental inconsistency. It was completely intentional decision-making for cinematography reasons. The front license plate blocked the KC spotlights mounted prominently on the front bumper. Cinematographers would remove the plate entirely for shots, specifically emphasizing the truck's aggressive front-end appearance. They figured nobody would notice the inconsistency between shots. But freeze-frame technology and high-definition home video releases revealed the truth clearly. Fan forums spent years meticulously documenting which specific scenes show the plate present and which show it missing. The pattern makes absolutely no sense when analyzed. Even within single continuous sequences, the front plate mysteriously appears and disappears between camera angles. One theory suggests multiple picture trucks with different configurations, but production records indicate they carefully matched all vehicles. The mystery remains genuinely unsolved. The front plate inconsistency joins the changing rear plate numbers as another unexplained oddity. Perhaps the simplest explanation is correct. They removed it when it looked better and forgot to maintain consistency. Rushed film production schedules make perfect continuity nearly impossible. The crew prioritized getting usable footage over maintaining perfect detail consistency that audiences wouldn't consciously notice anyway. Number 16. The Statler-Toyota connection. The truck supposedly came from Statler Toyota, according to a dealer frame clearly visible in certain shots. This wasn't random product placement or coincidence. It directly connects to the 1955 scenes where Marty's ancestors dealt with Statler Studebaker. The same fictional dealer family apparently sold cars in Hill Valley across multiple decades, maintaining their automotive business through generations. Production designers deliberately planted this detail specifically for observant viewers who pay attention to background continuity. But here's where it gets genuinely weird and confusing. No Statler Toyota dealership ever actually existed anywhere in California. The prop department created completely fake dealer badges and license plate frames from scratch. They even made matching paperwork that appears visible on the dashboard in one brief scene. Some dedicated fans actually tried finding the real Statler Toyota dealership. They called directory assistants, checked phone books extensively, and even drove around Southern California looking for the location. Universal's legal department eventually had to issue an official statement confirming the dealer was entirely fictional. The detail was so convincing that Toyota's corporate headquarters received multiple phone calls asking about their Statler franchise location. Confused customers wanted to know why they couldn't find this particular dealership that had sold Marty McFly his truck. The fake dealer became so embedded in Back to the Future lore that replica Statler Toyota badges became hot sellers among fans building tribute trucks. Today, seeing a Statler frame on any Toyota pickup immediately identifies it as a McFly tribute vehicle, even though the dealership never existed outside the fictional Hill Valley universe. Number 15. The double roll bar inconsistency. Watch the trilogy carefully, and you'll spot a major inconsistency that reveals production secrets. Some scenes clearly show a single hoop roll bar mounted behind the cab. Other scenes display a double hoop design extending back over the truck bed. This wasn't a continuity mistake or sloppy prop management. They deliberately used two completely different trucks for different purposes. The single hoop truck was the hero vehicle used for close-ups, dialogue scenes, and any filming where actors were visible. The double hoop truck handled all stunt work and action sequences where things might get damaged or dangerous. The double bar configuration provided significantly better protection for stunt drivers during jumps, hard landings, and potential rollover situations. Insurance companies and safety coordinators mandated the extra protection for dangerous driving. Matching the two trucks created absolute nightmares during editing. Several scenes show the roll bar design switching between cuts, sometimes even within the same conversation. The crew tried hiding differences by avoiding rear three-quarter camera angles that would show the bar configuration clearly. When fans discovered the inconsistency through frame-by-frame analysis, rumors spread wildly about timeline changes affecting the truck's physical appearance. The boring truth had nothing to do with time travel. Two trucks, different safety equipment, poor continuity checking. The Blu-ray and 4K releases made the switches even more painfully obvious in crystal clear high definition. You can now easily spot which truck appears in which scenes just by checking the roll bar. The single hoop means hero truck with actors. Double hoop means stunt truck, doing something potentially dangerous. Once you know what to look for, the pattern becomes impossible to unsee throughout all three films. Number 14. The paint code, secret and chrome removal. That perfect menacing black wasn't some custom mixed Hollywood special color. It was Toyota's factory code 202, straight from the manufacturer's standard paint offerings. But achieving the exact screen appearance required extensive modifications beyond just paint. The prop department systematically stripped every single piece of chrome trim from the entire truck. They painted the bumpers, grille, side mirrors, and distor handles matte black. Stock SR5s came loaded with bright, shiny trim pieces everywhere. The film truck looked almost military in its completely murdered-out black appearance. Replicating this specific look became a legitimate cottage industry. Body shops created official McFly packages that would de-chrome customer trucks and apply similar blackout treatment. But most shops got critical details wrong. The film truck actually retained certain specific chrome elements intentionally. Door handles and windshield trim stayed completely stock and shiny. The selective approach created visual interest without going full blackout, which would have looked flat and boring on camera. Toyota's 2015 Tribute Tacoma copied the general look, but used completely modern paint codes. Fans immediately spotted the difference. Original code 202 had a specific metallic flake that modern paints simply cannot match exactly. The vintage paint had depth and character that contemporary formulations lack. The de-chroming process was more extensive than most people realize. Every piece required careful removal, then either painting or replacing with black components. The work took several days per truck. They had to do this to multiple vehicles, making the modification costs add up quickly, despite using standard factory paint. Number 13. The KC highlight configuration changes. Those KC highlight spotlights weren't randomly placed on the truck. The prop department followed specific off-road racing layouts from 1985. 2 spots mounted on the front bumper, 2 more on the roll bar behind the cab. But watch closely throughout the films. The lights mysteriously change positions between different shots. Sometimes they're perfectly centered and symmetrical, other times noticeably offset toward the driver's side. This happened because the stunt truck and hero truck had completely different mounting points designed for different purposes. The stunt coordinator needed lights positioned for maximum actual visibility during dangerous night filming. The hero truck prioritized pure aesthetics over genuine function. KC still sells Marty McFly light packages today, but they cannot agree on the exact correct configuration. Their own archives show 3 distinctly different layouts, all claiming to be screen-accurate reproductions. The company even built a complete replica truck for trade shows and promotional events. They had to essentially guess at the proper spotlight placement because production photos showed too many variations. Internal company emails revealed lengthy debates about correct spotlight angles and positioning. Marketing finally decided to offer all 3 different configurations and let customers choose whichever version they preferred. The mounting hardware also varied significantly. Some lights used simple U-bolt clamps. Others had fabricated brackets welded to the bumper and roll bar. The inconsistency suggests rushed installation on multiple trucks without proper documentation or templates. Each vehicle got lights mounted slightly differently, based on whoever was doing the installation work that particular day. Nobody maintained consistency because they never imagined fans would analyze spotlight positions 40 years later. Number 12. The manual transmission drama. Every interior shot clearly shows the 5-speed manual shifter prominently. But here's something weird most people don't know. Automatic transmission SR5s were far more common and popular in 1985 America. The prop department specifically hunted for manual transmission trucks, which were actually harder to find. They needed the stick shift for one crucial storytelling reason: visual drama and character interaction. Shifting gears created action and physical movement during driving scenes. An automatic transmission would just sit there boring and static, offering nothing interesting for cameras to capture. Michael J. Fox had to learn driving stick specifically for this role. He'd never operated a manual transmission before filming started. The clutch pedal caused major coordination problems initially. Fox kept stalling the engine during early takes, frustrating everyone. The second unit director actually suggested switching to automatic transmission to save time and aggravation. Robert Zemeckis absolutely refused the suggestion. He specifically wanted the physical interaction with the shifter visible on screen. The production spent 2 full days teaching Fox proper clutch control and shift timing. The effort ultimately paid off handsomely. His shifting looks reasonably natural on screen in most scenes, though if you know what to look for, you can definitely spot him riding the clutch excessively in several sequences. The manual transmission added authenticity and character interaction that automatic could never provide. Marty physically engaging with the truck through shifting made it feel more like a relationship than just transportation. That visceral connection mattered for the audience's emotional investment in his dream vehicle. Number 11. The bedliner controversy. Freeze-frame shots of the truck bed reveal something odd that drove continuity supervisors absolutely crazy. Some shots clearly show a spray and bedliner coating. Other shots reveal completely bare painted metal. This inconsistency happened because different trucks had different bed protection. The Hero truck featured a professionally applied Linux spray in the bedliner for appearance and protection. The stunt truck used a cheap drop-in plastic bedliner that could be easily replaced when damaged. Nobody ever expected audiences to examine the truck bed frame by frame using home video technology. But Laserdisc, then DVD, then Blu-ray kept revealing more and more details the filmmakers never anticipated viewers scrutinizing. Fans created actual spreadsheets tracking which scenes showed which type of bedliner. The inconsistency spawned elaborate theories about multiple timelines affecting minor physical details of the truck. Universal's prop archive finally solved the mystery in 2015 when they found purchase orders for 3 different bedliner installations. Each truck received different treatment based on its specific intended use and budget allocation. The Hero truck got expensive professional spray and coating. The stunt truck got cheap replaceable plastic. The third backup truck, rarely seen on screen, apparently had no bedliner at all, just bare painted metal. It served primarily as a parts donor when the primary trucks needed repairs or replacement components. The bedliner variations became another example of how multiple picture vehicles create continuity challenges. Editors had to use whatever footage looked best, regardless of which truck it came from. The result was inconsistent details that obsessive fans would document decades later. Number 10. The tire pressure trick for appearance. Those 31-inch Goodyear Wrangler tires weren't properly inflated to recommended pressure for normal driving safety. The prop department deliberately ran them at just 18 psi, which is approximately half the manufacturer's recommended pressure. This created a very specific visual effect that cinematographers wanted. Low pressure made the tire sidewalls bulge outward noticeably, giving an aggressive off-road appearance that looked tougher on camera. It also dramatically improved ride quality for actors during dialogue scenes, filmed inside the moving truck. But the underinflation created serious handling nightmares for stunt drivers tasked with actual performance driving. The truck wallowed through corners like a boat in rough seas. Stunt coordinator Gary Davis had to completely modify his driving techniques to compensate. Quick direction changes became nearly impossible without the truck leaning dangerously. They would pump tires up to proper pressure for action sequences requiring precision control, then deflate them again immediately for close-up beauty shots. One particularly complex scene required 14 separate pressure changes throughout the filming day. The constant cycling between proper and low pressure absolutely destroyed the tire beads where rubber meets wheel rim. They went through 2 complete sets of Wranglers during Part 1 filming alone, just from the repeated inflation and deflation cycles. Goodyear representatives offered to sponsor free replacement tires after seeing how many they consumed. Universal's legal department declined the offer, fearing it would create product placement complications and obligations. The low-pressure look was worth the expense and hassle. That aggressive bulging sidewall appearance became part of the truck's iconic stance that fans recognized instantly and tried replicating on their own vehicles. Number 9. The missing Toyota badges. Mystery count the Toyota. Emblems and identification badges on Marty's truck carefully. You'll find exactly 0 anywhere on the entire vehicle. The prop department systematically removed every single badge, emblem, and Toyota identifier from the truck. This wasn't about avoiding product placement issues or brand visibility. Toyota had already approved the truck's use in the film and signed appropriate agreements. The DE badging served a completely different purpose in Robert Zemeckis' vision. Zemeckis wanted the truck to feel timeless and universal, not tied to one specific manufacturer brand. Removing badges created a more neutral appeal that focused on the truck as character transportation rather than corporate product. Test audiences didn't even consciously notice the missing badges. They identified it simply as Marty's truck, not specifically as a Toyota product. The strategy worked perhaps too well for Toyota's preferences. The company received virtually no brand recognition boost from the films, despite their truck appearing prominently. Executives later admitted they absolutely should have insisted on keeping at least some badges visible. The 2015 tribute Tacoma prominently displayed Toyota emblems everywhere. They weren't making that marketing mistake twice after learning from the original films. But fans immediately complained it looked too corporate and commercial compared to the clean-to-badged original. The badge delete became so iconic that replica builders religiously removed all Toyota identification to achieve screen accuracy. What was originally a creative decision to avoid brand distraction became a defining characteristic that identified tribute builds. The missing badges paradoxically made the truck more memorable than prominent branding ever would have achieved. Number 8. The Smittybilt bumper controversy. The front and rear bumpers supposedly came from Smittybilt's 1985 catalog, according to various sources. But here's the genuine problem that launched a decade-long investigation. Smittybilt has absolutely no record of those exact bumpers ever existing. Their complete archives, digitized extensively in 2010, show every single product from that entire era. Nothing matches the film truck's bumper design exactly. This launched obsessive fan investigations that consumed countless hours. Enthusiasts measured screen captures frame by frame, comparing dimensions meticulously to catalog specifications. The closest possible match was Smittybilt's Contour Series rear bumper, but the mounting points were completely wrong. The front bumper remained an absolute mystery with no comparable catalog item. Some theorists believe the prop department significantly modified stock Smittybilt bumpers, altering them beyond recognition. Others think they were custom fabricated completely and falsely attributed to Smittybilt for credibility. The company embraced the mysterious connection anyway, despite lacking documentation. They released official Back to the Future edition bumpers in 2015 for the 30th anniversary. The marketing boldly claimed screen accuracy and authentic reproduction. Hardcore fans immediately spotted numerous differences from the original film bumpers. Smittybilt's CEO eventually admitted publicly they essentially guessed at dimensions and design. Without original blueprints or the actual bumpers to examine, perfect reproduction was genuinely impossible. The bumper mystery remains unsolved today. Nobody knows definitively who manufactured them, or if they were custom one-off fabrications. The uncertainty adds to the truck's mystique while frustrating builders seeking absolute accuracy for tribute vehicles. Number 7. The window tint. Timeline changes. The truck's window tint changes dramatically and inexplicably between the 3 films. Part 1 shows nearly crystal clear glass with minimal tinting. By Part 2, the windows are heavily darkly tinted throughout. Part 3 mysteriously returns to clear glass again. This wasn't a continuity error or accident. Each film had completely different cinematography needs driving the decisions. Part 1 shot mostly during daylight hours. Clear windows helped naturally light actors' faces inside the cab without additional equipment. Part 2 featured extensive night scenes requiring heavily tinted windows. The dark tint masked lighting equipment reflected in glass and hid stunt driver substitutions during action sequences. Part 3 returned to predominantly daylight shooting, demanding clear glass again for proper actor lighting. But California law significantly complicated everything. The tint levels used extensively in Part 2 were technically illegal under state vehicle code. Highway Patrol could have legitimately ticketed the picture vehicles. The production carried special permits explicitly explaining the modifications were for film purposes. One officer either ignored or didn't see the paperwork and wrote an actual citation anyway during location filming. Universal's transportation captain had to physically appear in traffic court. The judge dismissed the ticket after reviewing the film permits, but warned sternly about future violations. The window tint inconsistency bothered continuity-focused viewers, but served genuine practical purposes. Each film's different shooting conditions required different solutions. Maintaining perfect consistency would have compromised lighting quality and created additional production challenges that outweighed the minor continuity issue most audiences never consciously noticed anyway. Number 6. The surviving truck's hidden journey. Here's perhaps the craziest part of this entire story. The main stunt truck from parts 2 and 3 didn't disappear into some studio warehouse or get crushed for liability insurance reasons. It spent 25 years hiding in plain sight, living a completely normal life. After filming, wrapped completely, a Universal transportation worker bought it for just $800. To him, it was just another used truck from the motor pool being liquidated. He daily drove it around Southern California for years, hauling lumber, surfboards, camping gear, and living normal truck life. No special treatment, no climate-controlled storage, nothing. His neighbors had absolutely no idea they were parking next to genuine screen-used history. The truck accumulated another 150,000 miles post-filming doing regular work. The owner eventually added a camper shell, installed different wheels, and even repainted it white at one point for practical reasons. But he kept every single original part carefully in his garage. In 2011, his son posted photos online casually asking if anyone recognized Dad's old Toyota. The internet absolutely exploded with recognition. Serious collectors immediately offered six-figure sums. The owner refused every single offer. He simply wanted his truck restored back to screen-accurate condition, nothing more. The restoration took 4 complete years. Every modification was carefully reversed using period-correct replacement parts. The white paint came off, revealing the original code 202 black underneath. Those KC lights were still in a box with studio inventory tags still attached. The restoration revealed incredible details. Stunt driver notes remained in the glove box. Camera mount points showed exactly where equipment had attached. Even Michael J. Fox's seat adjustment wear marks remained clearly visible. Number 5. The roof-mounted spoiler. That never existed. Fans constantly ask about the aggressive roof spoiler visible on Marty's truck. Except, there's one major problem. It never actually existed on any of the picture trucks used in filming. This widespread misconception comes from toy replicas and unofficial merchandise that added spoilers for aesthetic reasons. The actual screen-used trucks never had roof-mounted spoilers at any point during production. The confusion intensified when die-cast toy companies released Back to the Future Toyota models in the late 1980s. Several manufacturers added roof spoilers to make the toys look more aggressive and futuristic. These toys became so popular and widespread that an entire generation grew up remembering the truck having a spoiler. When they watched the films again as adults, they experienced the Mandela effect, swearing they remembered seeing it on screen. Frame-by-frame analysis of all three films shows absolutely zero roof spoilers ever. The roof remains completely clean, except for the roll bar. Some fans refuse to accept this, insisting their childhood memories are accurate. They claim certain VHS releases or television broadcasts showed different versions. No evidence supports these claims whatsoever. The phantom spoiler phenomenon became so widespread that Universal eventually addressed it in official statements. They confirmed definitively that no production truck ever featured roof spoilers. The clarification didn't stop the misconception. Tribute builders still occasionally add roof spoilers based on faulty memories or toy replicas. True screen-accurate builds maintain the clean roofline. The spoiler mystery demonstrates how merchandise and childhood memories can create false details that seem absolutely real. Thousands of people vividly remember something that never actually existed on screen, a fascinating example of collective false memory affecting automotive pop culture. Number 4. The engine bay was never shown. Here's something most fans never consciously realized. The films never show the truck's engine bay even once across all three movies. Not a single shot opens the hood to reveal what's underneath. This was absolutely deliberate decision-making by the filmmakers. The prop department never detailed the engine bay because they knew it wouldn't appear on camera. Why spend time and money making something look good that audiences would never see? The stock Toyota engine remained completely untouched and unmodified. It looked exactly like any other SR5 under the hood, which would have disappointed viewers expecting something special. Movie magic works best when you show just enough to spark imagination without revealing mundane reality. The engine's anonymity allowed fans to imagine whatever they wanted under that hood. Some assumed it had performance modifications matching the truck's aggressive appearance. Others figured it was bone stock since Marty was just a teenager. The mystery persisted because the films never provided answers. This restraint actually increased the truck's mystique rather than diminishing it. Modern tribute builders face difficult decisions about engine bay detailing. Should they keep it stock accurate to the actual picture trucks, or should they create the detailed engine bay they imagine the truck should have had? Most choose elaborate detailing because it looks better at car shows. But truly screen-accurate builds maintain completely stock engine bays, matching what the actual picture trucks had. The film's decision to never show the engine was budget-conscious filmmaking that accidentally created lasting mystery. Sometimes what you don't show is more powerful than what you reveal. Number 3. The famous truck scene was filmed in reverse. The iconic opening scene where the truck gets destroyed by the Rolls Royce wasn't filmed the way it appears on screen. They actually filmed it completely in reverse, then played the footage backward. The Rolls-Royce carefully backed away from the truck, then editors reversed the footage, making it appear to drive forward and cause the collision. This technique was necessary because the Rolls-Royce was an expensive classic they couldn't risk damaging. The truck was expendable. The Rolls absolutely was not. Filming in reverse allowed them to control the collision precisely without actually crashing anything. The truck was already positioned with staged damage. The Rolls simply backed away carefully, then post-production made it look aggressive. Sharp-eyed viewers can spot subtle clues revealing the reversed footage. Debris falls upward slightly before appearing to scatter. Biff's reactions look slightly unnatural when played backward. The lighting on the chrome bumper reflects oddly. Most audiences never notice because the editing was exceptionally skillful. The reversed filming technique saved the production from genuine vehicle damage while creating the impact they needed. Modern films would use CGI for this kind of scene. But 1985 required practical camera tricks and clever editing. The reverse filming also explains why the collision looks somewhat gentle compared to the catastrophic damage shown afterward. They couldn't actually crash the vehicles hard, so they staged the aftermath and faked the impact. The technique works so well that 40 years later, most people still don't realize they're watching reversed footage. It's a perfect example of practical filmmaking magic that predated digital effects. Number 2. Toyota waited 30 years to build official replicas. In 2015, exactly 30 years after the original film, Toyota finally built official tribute trucks celebrating Back to the Future. The timing aligned with the date Marty travels to in Part 2, October 21st, 2015. Toyota created one exact replica for the film's anniversary and displayed it at major automotive events. But here's what's genuinely strange. Toyota could have capitalized on the truck's fame any time during the previous 3 decades. They chose not to until the 30th anniversary. The company received constant requests from dealers and customers wanting official replica packages. They always declined, citing various corporate reasons. Some speculated that Toyota regretted the minimal brand visibility from the DD-badged original trucks. Others suggested they didn't want to be associated with 1980s nostalgia until it became trendy again. The 2015 tribute Tacoma featured meticulous details, including replica, KC lights, black paint, and period accessories. But it sparked immediate controversy. The truck prominently displayed Toyota badges everywhere, unlike the Day-badged originals. Fans complained it looked too corporate. The tribute used a modern Tacoma platform instead of vintage SR5 architecture. Purists argued it wasn't a true replica, just a modern truck with cosmetic styling. Toyota faced criticism regardless of their approach. Stay too faithful, and it's outdated. Modernize it, and it's inauthentic. The 30-year wait seemed to miss the peak cultural moment. By 2015, nostalgia had evolved beyond 80s films. The tribute felt simultaneously too late and too commercialized. Toyota's hesitation cost them decades of potential marketing value that could never be recovered. Number 1, it sells for over $100,000. Today, authentic screen used Back to the Future. Toyota trucks have achieved shocking valuations at specialty auctions. While the main hero truck remains in private collection and hasn't sold publicly, similar documented picture trucks have commanded prices exceeding $100,000. One verified stunt truck sold privately for a reported $135,000 in 2019. The buyer's identity remained confidential, but sources confirmed the 6-figure transaction. These valuations seem insane for what's essentially a basic 1980s Toyota pickup. But the cultural significance drives collector demand beyond rational automotive value. Back to the Future's enduring popularity means the truck represents childhood dreams for millions of people. Owning a genuine piece of that nostalgia becomes priceless for some collectors. The market for tribute builds exploded as screen-used trucks became unobtainable. Professional builders charge $30,000 to $50,000, creating accurate replicas from donor SR5s. Even these reproductions command serious money, proving the design's lasting appeal. The challenge is authentication. Dozens of trucks claim to be genuine picture vehicles. Most are fraudulent. Only a handful of legitimate screen-used trucks exist with proper documentation. Universal Studios kept meticulous records, making authentication possible but complex. The survivors that can be definitively proven genuine continue appreciating in value. That $800 purchase by a transportation worker in the late 80s became a 6-figure asset through nothing but time and cultural persistence. The investment appreciation exceeds most stocks, real estate, or traditional collectibles. A basic work truck became worth more than most exotic sports cars, proving that cultural significance transcends mechanical specifications. Sometimes the most valuable vehicles aren't the fastest, rarest, or most expensive originally. Sometimes they're just the ones that capture imaginations. The 1985 Toyota SR5 remains one of cinema's most beloved vehicles. And these hidden secrets prove that automotive legends come from perfect timing, creative problem solving, and sometimes complete accidents. From fake lift kits to reversed footage, from missing badges to 6-figure valuations, this wasn't just a teenager's dream truck. It was a 1-year-only configuration that became a time capsule, representing 80s optimism and adventure that still resonates today. Robert Zemeckis and the production team created something that transcended film, making a basic Toyota pickup into an icon that influenced real truck culture for decades.